Guys, real quick, listen up. Join us Sunday, December 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our second annual AITD Christmas Spectacular.
We will be live on YouTube and Facebook. Don't miss it, as we will have past guests from 2021.
That's right, buddy. So guys, grab your eggnog, food, and hell, even a blanket, and cuddle up with the crew for this special 3-hour live. Hope to see you guys then.
I'm good. I'm ready.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All in the Delivery. This is episode 2 of the Christmas Chronicles, because that's what we're calling it. So we're smack dab in the middle of peak season right now, guys. And another fabulous guest in store here for you guys today. But before we introduce him, let me introduce to you guys my co-host down in West by God, Virginia. Luke. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's probably 3 helpers in 3 days kind of thing, I'm sure. Maybe the COVID rule helps. No, that's it was a good week, man. It's been smooth so far.
I hope so.
We are at 6 days a week. I'm predicting that. I know that. But yeah, all's good, brother. All's well.
Good. And guys, let me introduce to you guys our guest today. I think this is the most northern guest we've ever had on.
I was going to say, this is one of the rare times that we got still got somebody north of you.
North of me.
Because we've had people like shout out, to Ashley Pippin. We got John Hilligus, everybody in Florida. When Dave introduces me, and they're like 12 hours. I mean, North Florida's 12 hours south of me, and Dave's introduced me all the way down to West by God, Virginia. Yep. I'm like, they're probably laughing their ass off inside.
Like, yeah, that's not.
This is literally. I think this is the first time. Well, yeah. So I think it is.
Our guest is more north than me, guys. He is from the Portland, Maine area, and oh man, we got this will be a good one. This is going to be a fun one. You guys probably know him on Instagram. I'm sure you guys have seen his gelato boat. Okay. And he's always out there just, slinging cardboard and gelato out on the lake. So guys, let's get into it. Please welcome to the show our guest, Mr. Shaun Avery. Shaun, how are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm good. How are you, Dave? What's up,
good,
Luke?
Man.
Oh, doing well, brother. Happy to have you on.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
I tell you, I had a lot of questions because I want to start off just because I'm going to just get this out of the way now, because we have we normally have stuff we'll set up, Dave and I, stuff to ask, and I literally added this in last, but I wanted to ask you about eating regimen, because I know you work out. Because when I was in my prime, I've been saying it. This is part 2 of the Christmas Chronicles episode. We've been in it for a while now, and I think I've been saying probably since whatever episode Bianca Garza was that I was going to start working out again, and I just keep procrastinating. But I was going to say at my peak when I was lifting weights and but I was lifting for bulk. I never did diet well. I never did. So I wanted to ask you right off the bat, as far as working out, like how it seems to me you take the diet stuff serious. I'll see you're like Misty. Shout out to Miss Terrific. I'll see you make your own. You eat the healthy shit from what I see. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm not going to lift the same like I did back then. I'm going to try to do it different if I ever do, if or when. But I was just curious. I wanted to get that out of the way because I knew if once we got into everything else, I might forget that. But just right out the gate, how much, what's your diet like with workout regimen?
Well,
you don't have to be.
It's probably not as good as everyone thinks it is, honestly.
But see, that's social media though. See, we post what we know. We can take a picture of ourselves and be like, we look shitty there, would retake it and look good. You know what I mean?
Man,
so it's all good.
If you guys knew me from 2010 to 2016, if this podcast existed back then and you guys knew me and saw my Instagram and my Facebook posts, it was nonstop every day. They call me the barbecue crash master because I had this route for 6 straight years and everyone fed me. Like, it would drive my wife crazy. I'd come home at night, I'd put my cooler on the floor and open it up. It was full because I didn't eat a single thing I brought to work with me because I got fed so much. She's like, you didn't eat your lunch again? And I'd put it back in the fridge. And then the next day I'd bring it to work, take it for another ride. But I would just get fed burgers and dogs and ice cream and cake at birthday parties. And like, there was a FedEx driver, Schmedlex, was in the same area as me. And she's like, Shaun, how are you eating all this food? How are you getting all this food from our customers? We had the same customers. I'm like, listen, this is what you do. You walk in, and when you see a big spread, you say, hey, it looks like you're participating in Schmedlex Appreciation Day. And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Help yourself. And it worked every time. And
that's genius.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I eat pretty clean. I probably don't eat as many calories as I should, but like this morning I get to work and they had pizzas laid out. So I'm plowing down the pizza. And then I get to a stop today, and one of my customers, she meets me at my passenger's door and hands me a tin of butter cookies. I bet I ate 30 of them today.
No shit.
Oh yeah.
Dude, see, I didn't see that coming because I literally, as I've been saying it, a friend of mine, I've said that this was kind of recent because I told Dave of these rough and rowdies that they do that Barstool Sports has now, like a tough man contest, 3 1-minute round boxing matches. I did those years ago, and I wanted to come out of retirement for one last one, and I don't think I'm going to do it, but that's just a side story. But that's kind of why this workout thing's been kind of running in my head. But I never would have guessed that. I would have.
I eat eggs in the morning. I eat granola with yogurt. I eat cottage cheese and oranges. I have a salad for lunch. I have a good dinner. Usually, some pasta with some meat and some marinara and whatnot. I eat pretty decent, but the stuff that's given to me on road, it gets out of control sometimes, and I can't say no. And I know. And I eat it. And I'm 5'9" and I weigh about 150, 155. And I've been that way my entire adult life. And I say that I can keep eating that crap because of my metabolism, and maybe that's the case, but I'm 44 now. So eventually it's going to catch up to me, or so I assume it will. And I'm not going to be able to eat like that anymore at some point.
If it hasn't hit you yet, I think you're good.
I'm just saying, dude, because I've seen just snippets of Insta stories of stuff where I've seen you with the fruits and cottage shit, like the shit laid out. So that in my head, I was thinking when we were about to come on here, I was like, if I just got to diet right now, because I never dieted well, especially when I played football, I just ate whatever. But like when I was actually working out, eating better, but I've always been. I'm not. So you said your whole adult life you've been 150. At my lightest, I'm not. We're not too. I'm 6'1", but I've been at my lightest I was 220, but I've been mainly around 240 to 2. So even if I got I would never. I kept thinking. The last time I had abs was the last time I boxed, and I had a remnants of them. They weren't even I literally flexed, and I felt like I was a sophomore in high school, and I was like, holy shit. And I trained my ass off, and actually, I ate all right then, but I hated to go rogue with that, Dave, but I had to ask him because now I'm glad I did, because that was something I wanted to get out, because I just assumed that you ate well. And it's good that I feel good that you eat great on the road, because you're not neglecting yourself of all the great food that's out there. That's the way I think of it. I'm like, I don't want to live in a world where I can't go get General So's. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but
I might have to go back to posting selfies of all this food that I'm eating out there, all the stuff people are giving me.
Dude, it really does pay off sometimes to be their driver. I mean,
it's true.
The snacks you get and shit, like it's incredible the way your customers take care of you.
See, but the problem is, though, with that is, like, with me, I would always get busted. My wife would get mad at me because, especially Christmas time, because everybody had candy out, Halloween
Candy,
too. There's
cookies,
shit.
yeah.
So I would just get this candy, and then I would just put the wrappers in my pockets and not think about it. Then my wife, like, it'd be like they'd be in the hamper or whatever. She'd do laundry, and she'd just pull out these wads of. I'm like, oh, that was accumulated over like a week. It was a lot. It was a shit ton.
Accumulated over a week.
Yeah. So it's like,
I wore the same pants every day, honey.
How bad is it? Like, she's pulling out handfuls. Like, oh God. But I saw that, seeing that image made me kind of feel like shit. But yeah, you got to watch it.
You just got to get rid of the evidence, Dave.
That's right. I just need to throw it in the trash.
That's it. Oh man. Nah, dude, but it's great though. But like, seriously, like, especially like during Christmas time though, like you get cookies, candy, like boxes of chocolates and shit. Like I've gotten that before from like, customers as gifts, and oh my God. And then it's like great, like sometimes you show up to like the house at like the right time and people are barbecuing or something out back. And then they'll, oh man, you want a hot dog? Or they got people over in pizza. You want a slice of pizza? You want wings? You want a soda, beer? Like whatever.
Yeah, they'll ask you, but they always offer.
Yeah.
I swear they do. They always offer beer. I'm like, man, yeah. I can't. We're gonna frown on that. I can't drink it. I'm sorry.
I mean, there was one time where I was like, I mean, I'll take it, but I'll save it for the shower beer when I get home later, and then that was it. And the woman gave me, I was literally delivering the beer to her. Like one of those, beer subscriptions, whatever they're called, whatever companies do that. And she's like, oh yeah, and I got these sweet double IPAs in here. And she just opened it up, whipped it out. I was like, here you go. And it was sweet. Thanks. Take that bad boy for their home tonight. And yeah, our customers are the best. Fuck.
I gotta ask, so
what a better job
is, and then we'll move on from it, because I know I went way out of how we normally do it.
So far off the rails. But
the last thing I gotta ask though, does Maine have good barbecue?
It's all right. I mean, I think we've got like the franchise type barbecue places.
That's how it is here.
We don't hit them up too often. We've got like the Moe's, and we've got the salvage barbecues, and I don't think we're really known for barbecue. We're more known for seafood. Like when you think Maine, you think lobster.
Lobster, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So it made me curious when you said we're the same. We're not no, but yeah, I was thinking there's people in the barbecue states are probably, if they're listening, they're just laughing at us right now. Like shit, they don't even know.
All right, so Shaun, tell us about yourself, buddy. How old are you? Where did you grow up? Let us know.
Well, I'm 44, and I grew up. I'm born and raised in Maine. I live now in the same town that I lived in when I was born. Moved out of town when I turned 22, got my own place, and then moved back to town. I bought and sold a few properties, so I've never lived more than 45 minutes of where I grew up. I graduated high school in 95. Started working when I was 15, flipping pizzas. I was a manager of a variety store, pizzas, sandwiches, stuff like that. Didn't go to college because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life that would require a degree. Like growing up, I wanted to be a professional bass fisherman. Like when I listen to professional bass anglers now tell the stories about when they were kids and growing up and their obsession with the sport, like that was me. Like that's the direction I was supposed to go. I was supposed to be a pro bass angler. And when I was 19, I'm still flipping pizzas and making $7.50 an hour. And I'm like, I can't do this forever. I asked for a raise. I asked for $9.50 and I was denied. So it was like November of maybe 1997, looking through the newspaper. And I see an ad for drivers, helpers wanted for this company. And it was $9.50 an hour. I'm like, boom, that's how much I wanted to make.
There you go.
So there's my raise right there. So I gave my notice and quit that job managing that pizza shop of 4.5 years so that I could work for the company for what I knew was going to be like 4 or 5 weeks. I knew it was a temporary position, but I'm like, well, I'll do that and look for something else in the meantime. And I ended up in the jump seat with a driver in my hometown for those 4 or 5 weeks during December. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And how much do you make? And you get to be outdoors and you just meet all these cool people. Like, how do I get in? So that's kind of where that happened. And then I got laid off Christmas Eve and just kind of didn't do a whole lot. I applied for a couple of jobs for a month or two. And then I got a call back from the company in February. They had an opening for preload and another one for local sort. And I liked the local sort hours better. So I jumped on it and I started local sort in February of 1998. And I did that for 2 years and 3 months. And when I was 21, I took my road test, started driving air on Saturdays. And then like a little bit during the week. Back then we had pagers, like we didn't have a cell phone yet. So I'd have my pager and the company would have my phone number. And if they had like some misloads or something, they'd page me. And then I'd find the nearest phone. I'd call them like, hey, we got, a couple of packages that need to be moved. Do you want to come in? So I'd go in. So between local sort and driving air, I was pretty much getting full-time hours. So I did that for 2 years and 3 months. And then I got an opportunity to get a full-time position. I signed every bid that got hung. Because I was still living at home. I wasn't held down, didn't have responsibilities. So I could go anywhere in the state. Sure. And I just got lucky and got a full-time bid out of the center I was working in. So that was
nice.
That was in June of 2000 when I made seniority as a full-time driver.
That's awesome.
I always thought local sort was, I was going to just say, I thought local sort was definitely, I thought it was more, because I went in as preload, but I covered local sort a lot in my long stretch in preloading. And I always liked it. Local sort seemed like way more laid back. So I always tell people if there's a route, if they can go. Of course, you got in young, and I did too. It's kind of a young man's game. It was 2 years, and you said but that in certain areas, if it's a smaller center, I feel like it's hard if you're an adult with, like you said, you were living at home. I was living at home, so I get what you're saying. It's hard to it's it's tough to get into the door in certain places. It's just, when I went to driving school, I was in New Stanton, PA, and there was people in bigger centers that literally got hired off the street and came in, never loaded a truck, never did anything, and so yeah, I think local sort's always the best way to go.
Yeah, local sort's more like I pick things up and I put them down. There's really no, you don't have to think about it. You just unload a package car onto a belt, or you're building a wall in a feeder truck. But preload, you get those hours you got to deal with, getting up early, and
it takes a little bit more brain work too.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're pulling a split and you're loading 3 or 4 cars at a time. I didn't want that. So when I got hired at 19, they said it'd probably be 5 or 6 years before I got a full-time driving position, which I was fine with. If I got in at 24, 25 as a full-time driver, that's still fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Yeah, it's
I was
still good.
I was 22. I was delivering air one Saturday, and I got back in from my route that day, and they said, so and so is on his 30 days. It was day 28, and he decided he didn't want it. He wants to go back to preload. He doesn't want to be a driver. After 28 days, he said, that life's not for me. I don't want it. And I had just happened to be next in line. So they said, if you want a full-time driving job, you got to go to school on Monday. And this was on Saturday. I'm like, heck yeah, sign me up.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah.
After thinking, 5 or 6 years I'd have to wait. And then I got in after 2 years and 3 months. I was all about it. So it worked out pretty well.
That's awesome. So you got into the driving at 24, 25, you said?
22 is when
No,
I
he's
got
22.
Oh,
He
22.
thought he was
Yeah.
gonna have to wait till he
Oh, right.
if that dude would have qualified, if he would have stuck it out, then would you have had to have waited then because nobody would have retired?
Well,
or
yeah,
positioned?
I don't know how long I'd had to wait, but definitely, longer.
Yeah.
It could have been
Right.
months, years, who knows? But
That's awesome.
I started
So,
delivering air as soon as I turned 21, but I didn't get a full-time driving job until I was 22.
gotcha. So you've been driving for 22 years?
Yeah, 22. Been with the company for next month will be 24.
Awesome.
How many routes? How many drivers? How many drivers are in your building?
I want to say I meant to ask, but I feel like we're up to about 125 right now.
Okay,
We
So
put
you're
a
bigger
lot.
than me then.
We put a lot on recently. Like we've got more rentals than we've ever seen, and they're around 12 months out of the year, where we used to just have the U-Hauls and the Penske's.
Yeah,
we used to only see those
same
out,
here.
after Thanksgiving. We'd pull all those rentals in, but now we've got them, every day.
Yeah, I feel like about Nate almost had to give the rooster sound there for a minute, but I feel like the company almost has. I feel like they must have some type of. They got to have some type of at least a handshake agreement with U-Haul or something. Because I feel like we've had the same thing at my place. We've had U-Hauls year round.
Budget trucks.
Yeah, same with you, right, Dave? You've had
Penske's.
yeah, like
Oh,
there's got to be. They're just making a killing off of us right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. So that's awesome, dude. So 22 years. So and you're 44, so you got technically is at 55, so you got 11 more years left?
No, not up here.
I was
Oh,
going to say if you go,
what is it? What's the rule?
if you go 8 more
the
years
main.
at 30.
It's my understanding that I have to work till I'm 57. Where we're at, you can't collect your pension till you're 57 years old. So when I got hired, it was 30 and out, which I was pumped. I was going to be like 51, with 2 years of part-time, I'd probably be 50 or 51 when I retired, and then collect full pension immediately. And I was like, absolutely, I'm all about it. So since then, they've moved the goalpost a couple of times, and now you got to be 57 to collect pension. So my wife and I were recently, like within the last year, we were thinking about maybe in like 2 years, moving out of state, like selling the house, going to like the north of South Carolina. And I looked into it pretty hard to see what would happen with my job.
Right.
And found out that if I left Maine prior to 57, I wouldn't collect that pension until I'm 65.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
I'd have to quit the company.
Yeah.
And then move and then reapply and then start all over, like work a year to get your first week of vacation.
Right.
And then get vested into another pension and then not collect the one that I've been, paying.
And you wouldn't be guaranteed full time either.
No. So it wasn't worth it. I'm sticking it out
tough.
for about 13 years and 3 more months at least.
There you go. Hey, what's another 13
I know that'll be about 38 years with the company by the time.
There you go.
By the time I get there.
Fuck.
That's what I don't even. I mean, I hope I can retire at 57, but I just it's hard to even tell. That's I'm about to. Well, I guess I'm 30. I'm 37. As this is released, so I mean, yeah, I'm still. I don't know. That'd still be 20 years, but I hope I can. I don't want to. I mean, we talked about that. I think on Ashley's episode, but it just was. It's a fun thought. You think 30 and out, but that's what I'm almost at the halfway point now, and I'm like, God, yeah, I definitely couldn't have retired. It is, yeah, it's a pipe dream for me, but yeah, that's still not bad though. 57 is still not bad. All things considered, my dad worked till he was 60. He didn't quite work till 65, but he was 60, 63 or 64. I feel like most people work till their mid 60s anyway. So 57 is still a good age to retire.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. But I mean, I'm just thinking like how many years I'll have with the company at that point. It's 38 and I got 13 to go. Like things could change between now and then too.
Yeah.
Like, what if they change it to 59 or 60? Then I'm looking at 40, 41 years.
Right.
It's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you creep that 40-year status, our last two guys that retired, was 42 and 44 years they were in, and they got 44 years. I did not think I would have bet so much money that when he said he was going to retire, he said it for years. And I was like thinking, bullshit. There's no way. And, but what's funny is the first week after he retired, I come to work and his fucking truck's parked on the side of the building. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here, Tommy? I was like, what's going on? He was just there. He was just there talking to people. And I was like, it's like Shawshank Redemption. You get used to shit. I was like, Tommy was just 44 years is a long time. but the other guy at 42 years, he has not been back to the building. I have not seen him since his retirement. Just on a side note, but yeah, you get to the 40-year mark, man. I know it's kind of that's another level.
Oh yeah. So we are currently in the middle of peak season. Just curious because I think we've seen a lot of people's pictures during the winter months up there in Maine. How's that on the job?
It could get pretty gnarly, no doubt about that. But I mean, there's plenty of us out there that deal with it and can relate. But I know there's a lot of others that can't imagine what it would be like to drive one of those things in the snow. But I've been doing it for so long, and it kind of, I don't know. I'm at the point now where I can choose my route based on where I want to be 12 months out of the year. Sure. Where I've had routes in the past that are great in the summer, spring, and fall, but in the winter they're torrential, and I've left routes just because I can't deal with it anymore.
Sure.
And it's like I hate winter more and more every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I want a flatter route than. Do we what?
No, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. Do you guys have regular chains, like old school chains for your tires?
Regular.
I say regular. Well, like normal chains, like not those bullshit little strap
normal,
things.
My God.
Whatever they are.
We don't have like full tire chains. I don't think I've ever seen one up here.
How does that happen?
We just got those two little chains that go around, and you have to put it through the hole that doesn't have the valve stem. And
yes,
and
that's what Dave's got.
Right.
Yeah, that's all we've got. So we've got
they're just single
really
chains. They're literally single chains. Yeah. And
but
you can put like two on a tire.
And those things that I'm still it's hard for me to I mean, it's such a pain in the ass to put the regular chains on, but I feel like once them things are strapped in, but see, like
that's the thing though. Like you drive with them like all day long, right?
No.
Yes. Well,
right. Okay. Right. So Luke does.
If I put them on,
we can't.
I mean,
no, the truck would be jumping back. It jumps too much with those chains on. You can't go like more than like 5 miles an hour with those little chains on. It's just to get you out of the hole and then take the things off.
Yep.
Or leave them behind, which I've done plenty of times too.
I got
or they shoot off.
You're
this is being a road by the water. So I may have said that, I've probably told this before, but since we're right in the middle of peak season, don't do this, everybody. And so I had to, like I said, had the chains on, was feeling good. It's my route. This was last winter, and this road's flat, but all the houses at the end of it, it's a dead end road. It's by a river, and all the houses are elevated. So once I got out, like, it was just a literally hockey rink sheet of ice. Stupidest decision I could have made, and I did it twice. And somehow both times that truck didn't end up in the fucking river. But the first, so this was
twice. Stupidest decision I made twice.
Yeah. There won't be a hat trick, I can promise.
I didn't learn the first time, so fuck it. I did it again.
I always need a double shot to remember why I don't do something.
Oh my God.
So this was the first time the biggest mistake. I'll save the second part for another time. But I had the chains on, so I knew the road was flat, but I didn't account for the driveways being elevated. So like when I went to turn, like I could drive up, but like I didn't realize I wasn't going to be able to rotate the truck when I would, like, I would cut the tires all the way and I just slid straight back. And I was like, oh shit, this is bad. And I mean, I'm in a spot, I'm like, I don't know if a tow truck's going to be able to come get me. Long story short, I ended up going to the very, very end, and I knew it was gravel because it was my route. I knew normal there was gravel underneath, and desperation attempt, got up back far enough to straighten myself out. And I said, I'll never do that again. And then I ended up doing it again. And then there was a car parked in that place. So so that won't happen the third time, I promise.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but dude, I don't like I know your guys' win. I know you and Dave have, I have bad winters too, but I know you guys have worse winters than I do. It just blows my mind at those. I'm just skeptical, I guess. I know they work, obviously. You guys use them, but like I guess what I'm asking is, like, is there times where, because I asked his dad this. Dave's dad was he was a Circle of Honor driver. Vic, driving all them years, there's never a time where every road is just absolute shit where you have to keep those things on. Was there never been a time where you, like, literally, like, every single, maybe not a main road, but I'm saying like most of the roads are covered up enough to where you're not feeling comfortable going barefoot, so to speak, with bald tires?
I've only used my chains to get unstuck. I've never put them on to prevent anything. I wait until I can't get all the way up a hill and I stop halfway, and then I get out and I put them on so I can continue on, or to get myself out of a hole. If I can't use just the traction aids, I'll put a chain on. But I probably used them once, maybe twice last winter. Like, I just either park it and walk it off or find another way. But I get them all done. Like, EC is not in my vocabulary. I find a way to get everything delivered.
See, that's even more hardcore to me, that you're using those little straps and not ECing anything. That's awesome though. Good for you.
Yeah, but my route's almost better in the winter because I'm pretty rural, and I've probably got 50% dirt roads on my route. And in the summer, when we don't get a lot of rain, it's just so dusty.
Yeah.
And then this past mud season was the worst I had ever seen. So, like, there were roads that weren't even passable this mud season. But like in the winter, you don't have the potholes, you don't have the dust, and you don't have the mud. So my route's almost better in the winter, with the exception of like the middle of a blizzard. That's when it sucks.
Sure. And see, like, that's the thing, Luke. Like, just like when you asked my dad about that thing, like he said, you know, he just never put himself in that situation where he
I
ever had
feel
to
like
use
I'm
them.
gonna, if there's for some reason, knock on wood, I hope I don't get hurt, but if there's ever some reason I'm out of work for a bit, if it's winter time, I'm coming up there and watching you guys do this shit. I'm gonna be supervising you unofficially. You just don't, you won't
No,
have
it's
to
like,
worry about a warning
and
letter.
it's like, you know, that's one of like the greatest things though about having your own route and knowing where you'll be every day is when those snow days come. You know, roads and shit. You're like, nope, not even attempting that one. You know, nope, not even going down that. You know, and nope.
I'm
Like
not
I have
gonna be as much of
like
a
I have a
renegade
section
anymore.
where
I retired from that.
there's like one of like the main roads are like steep. It's like a steep hill. And like I know for a fact there's no way that truck is making it up this hill if I go down to deliver that section. So like I won't even go down and deliver that section if it's snowing bad. Because I'm
area
fucking
knowledge. Area
yeah.
knowledge is key in the winter. And I've got a coworker who's retiring December 24th, and I've got my sights set on his route. So if I get it, then I'm going to be, I've done it before, so I'm not completely blind out there, but I'll basically be learning a new area
Mhm.
in December, January, February.
Ooh.
So I could get myself in some situations, you know, I'll probably do a lot of walking at first until I know where I can and can't go. But once you know your route, you know, pretty much go anywhere you want. You just got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
I think that's been my biggest problems. I just haven't. I just put on. I don't know what the hell. I just get reckless. I don't say reckless, but I don't know. I need to stop doing, especially that one road. That one I'm retired on. That one I don't care. It's EC'd for the rest. I mean, because when it's by the water, it just freezes anyway. If it's something at the end, those people, we're just gonna have to get phone numbers because I'm retired from going out. I've definitely retired from that road in the wintertime.
Well, speaking of frozen water, so I had this route for a few years, and it was all hills because there was like at least half a dozen lakes and ponds on this route. So to get to the water, you got to go down a hill, and then to get away from the lake, you go up a hill. And it was horrible in the winter. Well, I got this one stop that was just one of the worst, especially when it was actually snowing. And I'm like, man, I don't think I can get down a Big Pine today. I just can't do it. And it's a lot of walking to walk that one off. So I'm on the opposite side of this lake, and I'm driving along making other deliveries. And I look across the lake and I see that stop on the opposite shoreline. I could see the house. I'm like, there she is right there on the other side of the lake. Like I can see it. If I can see it, I can walk to it. So,
oh man.
I parked the thing and I just started walking across the lake, and I get to her house and I knock on the door and hand her the pack. She's like, Shaun, where's your truck? I'm like, it's on the other side of the lake. I just walked across your pond. And it was pretty cool. I did that twice.
Well, that's great. So you knew it was frozen enough. You know, it was like it's fucking cold enough that it's
there's like snowmobiles and ice shacks and stuff out on the lake. I knew it was
okay.
That's awesome. So let me tell you this. So this just happened well, a month and a half ago. And we had some heavy rains up here, and there's the one road that I delivered down on my route called Springtown Road. Springtown Road runs parallel with what they call the Wallkill River. And it's pretty close to like sea level. You know what I mean? Like the road and the river height is almost identical. So when we get a shit ton of rain, that road floods. And so I had to stop the other day, and I couldn't get to the stop because of the road being flooded. But like that house where I couldn't get to is up on a hill. So they're not flooded, but down below, you know, they can't get out of their driveway. They're stuck up there till the flood, you know, goes down. And sure as shit, I was up on this one back road, and just like you're saying, I could see that house through the woods up here. And I was just like, I think that's 121. And I was like, wait a second, I have a delivery for them. And then sure as shit too, there was a path that led from the house that I was at through the woods to their house. So then like I went on, you know, it was a little bit of a walk through like the guy's backyard to get to the woods. But like I knocked on the door and I asked him, I was like, hey, is that a path back there that leads to 121 over there? He's like, yeah. I was like, listen, I have a stop for them. Do you mind if I use the path? He's like, no, go ahead, man. Thank you for asking. And so same type of thing. Like you just said, Shaun, I got up to the door. I knocked on the door. The woman comes. She's looking at me, but she's looking at me all confused. Like, how the hell did you get here? Because she knows the road's flooded, And I was like, I was like, yeah, I just took the path over there. I just walked through the woods. And she's like, oh, thank you. And, she said the same thing. Like, where the fuck did you come from? Kind of thing. But yeah, dude. And then, those are the customers too that, really appreciate it and appreciate you. And, then going above and beyond for it, really,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man.
Well, that's part of what, you still got it. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that can say plenty of negative stuff, but in the end, I'm like you said, Shaun, with being outside, I've said many times on here and I couldn't see myself sitting in an office. The job itself, I absolutely have no problem with at all. And yeah, it's when you got, I mean, I guess I'm speaking to, some people are going to be how they are, but to all the younger drivers out there, to the brothers and sisters that are just coming in, it does when that happens and you see, especially if they're really happy about it, and, it motivates you to work, just work a little harder, not kill yourself by any means, but, to just, like you said, go that extra step, so to speak, whether it's through a path through the woods or a frozen lake or, whatever the fuck it would be. But yeah, just go that extra mile sometimes. You'll feel better about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, speaking of lakes, so you like to go out onto the lake in the summertime when it's not so frozen and deliver ice cream. So, but first, before we get into that, I just have to say a quick thank you to our Patreons. Okay, so quick thank you to Tony, Sam V, Andrew, Fernando, Nate, Clement, Jared, Katad, Sam C, Luke C, Ryan, Will, and Ashley P for your guys' continued support. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to me and Luke, like we always say, and that's because we fucking mean it. So thank you guys. And if you want to become a Patreon member, the Patreon's link will be in the description of the episode. So go and check it out, guys. All right.
That was me going rogue at the beginning.
Yeah, completely fucked me up. Thank you.
I did. I mean, it's just it's Christmas Chronicles. I had to throw a little Nightmare Before Christmas in there.
Hey.
Or not Nightmare. Well, I said that because well, I said that.
But I know where you're going.
We're recording this. That's all.
Yes.
Those spoilers.
Better late than never.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Right.
You got it in.
That's right. So tell us about that, buddy. How did that idea come about?
Because
it's very unique.
Yeah. Well, so I live on a lake here in Maine that there's been decades of ice cream boats on this lake. It's like a tradition. And it goes way back, like, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know the whole history of it, but we moved to this lake our house was built in 2016. We moved in January of 2017. And I've always had boats, but before we built the house, I sold like my truck. I sold my boat. I just dedicated everything to getting the house built. Mm-hmm. Then when we got here, I'm like, well, I got to get another boat now that we live at the lake. So I bought a little 16-foot aluminum bass tracker fishing boat and used it as a fishing boat for the first 2 years we lived here. And I think it was the summer of 2018. I was at our annual Lake Association meeting, and somebody stood up in the meeting, and he happened to be the owner of the ice cream boat that was on this lake, which I had never seen out here. I don't know how I missed him, but I never saw him out here. So I knew it existed. I just never saw him out on the lake when I was out there. So he stood up and he announced that he was going to be retiring and selling the boat and the business. So I was like, that's kind of neat. Didn't really think a whole lot of it. I wasn't in the market to start a ice cream boat business at the time. I never saw that in my future. And my wife at the time, she was away in like Arizona at a conference with her business or something like that. I don't know where she was, but I didn't see her for like 3 days. So she gets home from her trip and I was like, oh, hey, when I was at the Lake Association meeting, Joe stood up and announced that he was selling the boat, the business. And she's like, yeah, I saw that on Facebook. I'm like, we should buy it. She's like, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, no way. You serious? She's like, yeah, are you serious? So I reached out to him and he had a few inquiries, but I guess I was the first one and the one that was the most interested in taking it over. So we talked about it and my wife rode with him around the lake for a day while I was at work to see what it was like, kind of like a job shadow deal. And then I did the same thing one weekend. I rode with him for half a day. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like everyone, just like what we do with the cardboard, most people are happy to see you.
Right.
And
yeah.
it's the same thing out there with a boat full of ice cream and gelato. Everyone's happy to see you. And like
amazing.
You feel like a local celebrity driving around the lake and people come out ecstatic, like, come to my dock, please.
It's hot as balls and I want fucking ice cream.
I was like, yeah, we got to do this. We'll get to know everybody on the lake.
That's awesome.
And we're going to be on the water anyway, just cruising around, looking at people's properties and just, enjoying the lake. So we might as well make a little money while we're out there and get to know people and make some friends. So we started that in the season of 2019. We did it last year, and then this was our third season in 2021, and it's a blast. So
that's awesome.
The business came with a 20-foot pontoon boat, but the motor was a 96, and it was on its last leg. Like it wasn't going to make it through another season doing this because I put about 250 hours on my outboard every summer, and that boat and motor wasn't gonna cut it. So I sold it, and I ended up being able to fit 2 chest freezers on my 16-foot fishing boat.
Nice.
So I got one freezer full of gelato and the other one's full of the novelties, the stuff that's prepackaged.
Yep.
And I've got a 13.5-foot gelato flag on the boat. Another flag that says ice cream. We don't play music or anything like that. And we just idle around. The lake is about 31 miles of shoreline. It takes anywhere, depending on how busy it is, like 6.5 to 11 hours to cover the whole lake.
Wow.
And I just idle around. We serve people boat to boat out on the lake, or we hit the sandbars, or people flag us down on their docks. It's so much fun. But
dude,
that would
awesome.
be a blast.
It is.
And I guess one question I have, so is the lake, I don't know how lakes work, but is it like a private lake? Like, is it like the people that all live on the lake, or is there like people can literally drive and just, ride out there for the day? And
both. Yeah. There's a lot of residents here, a lot of year-round residents, but then there's also a lot of people that own properties that rent them out. So it's like our customer base is always rotating. Like a family will come stay at a rental for a week. We get to know them, we serve them, and then they leave. And then a new family moves in and we get to know and serve them, and then they leave. But there's also a public boat launch. So there's a lot of day trippers that just come for the day. And we've gotten to be very popular. It's an insanely busy business. Like if the lake didn't freeze up here, I could do it all year round. I'd go back to local sort at the company
and do that full time.
Just for the benefits. And then, I'd deliver gelato by day and sling cardboard at night. But
so have you thought about that? Like when you guys were thinking about like moving to like the Carolinas, like have you thought about that? Like, I mean, maybe a gelato boat may not be as popular down on a lake in Carolina or something, but like, I mean, shit, that's always cool.
It's certainly a possibility, but
it was so unique. And like the first time I like saw you were like working on the boat or like pulling it out of the garage in like the spring or something like that. And I was like, this dude's got a fucking boat, goes out on the lake and delivers ice cream. Like
I made that TikTok with your intro video for this podcast of my boat pulling out of the garage. Like all dramatic.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was kudos.
Appreciate
Dude,
that. But
dude, I'm a newbie boat person, and 2021 was my maiden year with a pontoon boat. And I mean, obviously we're not, it's completely unrelated as far as what you guys are doing with your business, but I'm just saying, just in general, boating, God, I absolutely, I never thought I would be a boat guy, but I have a blast. I've had a great time with it, and I'm looking forward. I'm just, yeah, I mean, it really, I understand why, if that lake didn't freeze, you would do it year round, because I mean,
that just sounds awesome.
yeah, it's literally like, I mean, I'm not on a lake, I'm on a river, but I'm still, we just being, I get what you're saying there. You just cruising around, serving people ice cream. Just, I mean, and you're on the boat, man. It's awesome. Yeah, it's all right.
And I mean, so I my season starts like usually Memorial Day weekend, unless I'm stocked up on gelato in advance, which I usually am. If the weather's decent in early to mid-May, I might get out there for a weekend or two, but it like officially kicks off Memorial Day weekend, and I'll go through Labor Day. And then if it stays nice into September, I'll go a week or two into September. But I'm at the point with the company now where I get 6 weeks of vacation, and I use 5 of those all in a row in the summer to run my boat. So I take the entire month of July and the first week of August off every year. And I just out there every day.
How busy are you on Memorial Day weekend?
It's busy, but not quite there yet, because a lot of kids are still in school.
Oh,
and
yeah, I didn't
a lot of the
that.
people that own property on the lake live out of state, so they're still back at their homes in wherever it is, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut. And they, until mid-June, when their kids get out of school, that's when they come up to their summer homes here. So it gets busy toward the end of June, and then, but 4th of July is like peak. It's like peak day for me. 4th of July weekend is like peak season, and it's crazy. I start around 11 a.m. and I don't get off the water till 11 p.m. on 4th of July weekend.
Wow.
And I usually start around noon anyway, every weekend, or pretty much every day I go out. I'm noon to dark, like consistently.
That's awesome, dude.
So it's weird though, because like I'll take 5 weeks of vacation and I just deliver ice cream and gelato, and then I go back to cardboard, and I think, like, I just thought about this past August when I went back to work after my 5 weeks of vacation. I'm like, imagine if this job delivering cardboard was like it is when I'm delivering gelato, where you just have a truck full of cardboard and you just drive around waiting for somebody to come out of their house, waving their arms like, I want some. And then you show them the menu, and they're like, here's what you get to choose from. You can have Amazon, you can have, and they pick what they want. You give it to them, and you go on until somebody else comes out waving their arms, wanting some cardboard.
God, what a perfect world that would be.
Imagine if it worked that way.
On-road supervisors would pull their hair out, but it'd be great for us. That would be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you said you started this in 2019. So have you, like you said, some people, they rent it out. So like, have you seen like the same family yet? Like, maybe the following year, like you see him 1 year, and then you see him again like the following year.
We met some families in 2019 that when they left, they said, we rent this camp every year. We'll see you again next summer. But then 2020, we had the whole COVID thing going on,
right?
And a lot of people didn't rent their homes out last year. So those families didn't get to come up last year, but typically, yes, we would see the same families, and it kind of works like with the rentals. Like if you rent consistently, you're kind of grandfathered into that week, so those families can get that week year after year after year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool, dude.
It's cool. It's fun. It's a busy little lake, and it's fun being out there doing it. I wish the season was longer.
That's sweet. Dude, that's awesome. Luke, do you have any other questions for him, or should we just get into the helper stories?
Well, I was going to say, no, I think because my one that I wanted to make sure I didn't forget, I just came bull rushing right at the beginning of the episode. So.
Straight out the gate.
Which I'm glad I did, because damn it, if I'd have forgot that, I never would have thought. I'm just glad to know you eat burgers and barbecue, man. Like I said, I'm glad you don't deprive yourself of it, because it's shit's amazing. But yeah, no, let's get into it, brother. I'm ready.
All right. So, Shaun, we ask every one of our guests, obviously, to tell us their favorite helper story. You can give us one, you give us two. The guy last week, he gave us like 3. John gave us like 3, I think it was. So, what do you got?
Well, since this peak that we're in right now is my 24th peak season with the company. So 22 of those peaks have been driving. So I've had some helpers, I've got some stories. So I give you 3, I give you 3 quick ones.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. Like I didn't leave anybody on the side of the road or
Never
as much as I wanted to, and none of them were intimate with livestock, nothing like that.
Shit.
Oh, that's a throwback. Go for it. I like that.
Oh, I've heard them all.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've got a few. I had the first helper story is, this one goes the furthest back. I had there was a girl that worked preload, and I was friends with her. I was friends with her boyfriend. He and I used to ride motorcycles together, and she was kind of like a friend, almost like a little sister that I never had. And she signed up to be a helper, and they put her on car with me, and we were having a blast. I was doing a city route, ton of stops on it. And she was a good worker. She'd do preload, and then she'd hop on car and work with me. So she was working a ton of hours. And we were killing it and having a good time and jamming out to some music in the cab while we were out there. And one day I get to the meet point at the meet time, and she's not there. So I make the delivery. It was a bulk stop. So I get the bulk stop cleaned out. Still not there. So I do a little sorting. I'm like, I got like 250 stops in this car. I can't just sit here for too long. So I text, I call, no answer, no response. And I'm like, well, she's late. She overslept. I didn't think too much of it. And I'm like, she'll get in touch with me. Eventually I'll just carry on. So I'm going about my day. And we did get a little bit of snow either that morning or the night before. So then I started thinking maybe something happened on her way to meet me. Maybe she crashed or something. So I started getting a little bit concerned. Still no call, no text. But I didn't want to call the company and get her in trouble either. I didn't want to tell them that she was a no-show, because she was a friend of mine and she already worked there in the morning as well. So I never heard a thing all day. And toward like the end of the day, I finally hear from the company, and they're like, yeah, so-and-so reached out to us. She said that she couldn't meet up with you today. Turns out she would go home at the end of our day and just talk about how much fun she was having working with me to her boyfriend, like too much.
No.
She's like, oh, we were having so much fun. And
he was like, one of them, huh?
Song would come on. She's, oh, when this song comes on, me and Shaun, we jam out and whatever. And it got to the point where he was tired of hearing about me, I guess. So that morning he took her car keys and her cell phone and said, you're not going to work with Shaun today. So that's why she was a no-show.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ.
She did work the rest of peak, but they had to put her with a different driver. So that was interesting. And then I got a couple of helpers after that were just
awkward.
Horrible. They were so bad. And I was like, man, why do you have to ruin it? We had a good thing going, and we were going to have a good peak. And that was about it for that one. But
wow.
I had another one on a different city route. This was the heaviest day I've ever had on any route, any day in my entire career. I had 315 stops dispatched. And my helper was a no-show. And I was like, what the heck? Of all days, I got 315 stops and I got a no-show. So I didn't really care about that helper too much. I can't even remember who it was, but I immediately reached out and like, hey, I don't have a helper today. Somebody's going to ride with me. And they ended up sending the sales rep, put a uniform on and jumped on car with me. And we got it done, 315. But
yo, let me tell you something real quick.
I bet
it was about 2 peak seasons ago. They gave me a sales rep, and this motherfucker worked his ass off, like hard working, hustling, like one of the best helpers I ever had. I just got to say that. But
same here, but it was only for one day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, damn,
just for one day.
And done. That's why they're hustling so hard. They know they're only doing it for a day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
he's like,
again,
I just want to make sure you get home. I was like, all right, sweet, let's go, bud.
And then again, same situation. After that day, I just got a couple of duds after that. And they were horrible. And the last one, it's not like a bad helper story. This one's positive. My dad retired as a truck driver. He drove like tractor trailer trucks for like Pepsi and Schlitz back in the day, and Jordan's Foods, which is now Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
He drove for like, I don't know, 44 years or something, like had millions of miles of safe driving and stuff like that. He retired a few years ago, and he wanted to make a little extra money. So I said, hey, why don't you be my helper? You can, see what it's like doing what I do. And he did. He signed up. They put him on car with me, and he went from doing, I don't know what he did as a truck driver in the tri-state area, maybe 6 or 8 stops a day, to doing like 210 country route stops. So that was kind of eye-opening for him to see what I had to do and the conditions I had to deal with in the driveways in December, that are uncared for, unsalted, unsanded. They're like, they make you drive all the way out here to deliver this little thing. You have to deal with these conditions. Like, yeah, absolutely. So that was really cool. Having my dad in the passenger seat with me for a season, it's something I'll always remember. And, glad I had that time with him doing that, because he wouldn't do it again. One was enough for him, but it was cool to have him.
That is pretty cool to have on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Since then, I just turn them down, though. They try to put a helper on me. I said, nah, I'm good.
That's how I've been, man. I haven't had a helper in three Christmases now, or 2, or 3. But I like literally the timelines of my helpers. I was so spoiled, man. Like my first one, I would wait. The kids would come up in the cul-de-sac, and I'd just throw up a basketball, and he'd slam down a basketball on a 10-foot rim. That was the first helper I ever had. And obviously athletic young guy. And the last one I had was a guy that literally, I mean, he was 59 and not in shape 59. I always say AARP 59. And I've been so like, I started off with like literally, like I had that guy, the slam dunk and basketballs,
the athlete.
The helper after that, 2-time state champion wrestler, was like 22. Like I literally, and he was with me my first 4 years, like of driving peak. I just had these stud, hardworking helpers, and I just heard people bitch, and I just was like, man, well, that sucks for you. I'm having to dunk basketballs for these kids out here, man. It's like, thinking back on it now, I don't know how he didn't get taken away from me saying that. I'm surprised none of the other drivers got pissed and tried to bump me. But yeah, that's I deny them too. Really, if they keep that an option, I think it's. I mean, do you have PVD drivers where you're at, Shaun?
Yeah, we do, and they've already started.
See, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
if PVDs are a thing, then that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't feel bad about the helpers, because PVDs are a relatively newer thing, and that I feel like that's kind of. I mean, if you're doing for seasonal, excuse me, you would rather do PVD than be a helper. You make more money, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do. And I mean, when I say we have them going already, I mean, they started the end of October, which is crazy early.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like PVDs where I'm at in my building. I just found out about it the end of October. Somebody came in, we were punching out, and they're like, "Yeah, my PVD." I'm like, "What? You have a PVD out there already?" And they said, "Yeah." I couldn't believe it. But last year I had a PVD on my route. So my very first stop of the day was to her parents' barn where I dumped like 100 stops, and then she'd deliver them out of her pickup truck. But last peak
That's
had
not a bad deal. That's good.
No, it was pretty sweet. She was good. I'm like, "Hey, call me if you have any questions." Never heard from her.
That's
like
awesome.
She crushed it. Like 100 stops out of a pickup truck with just a tonneau cover on it. Like she didn't even have a truck cap, or like, I don't know how she did it, but last year in my center we had 65 PVDs, and they're hoping to get it up to 105 this peak. I don't know what we're at right now, but so everything's growing. The 224s, the PVDs, the helpers, like it's just we're not. Yeah, they didn't get the applicants that they wanted.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Like they said the same thing for us too. Is like the amount of hires that they're going to be getting in for us this holiday season up here is just going to be a much larger group than what we had last year for the PVDs and helpers. And I mean, yeah,
I haven't heard. I mean, yeah, that's probably. Let's say it's probably the same here, but.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Most people would be better off, because most of them. I mean, I can't say it. You do have good helpers, but I feel like when we started the helper story segment, because we didn't start the helper story segment because
we had good helpers.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't start. If every one of us had absolute work machines, we wouldn't have helper
talking
story
about
segment. Yeah, I shouldn't.
That's
yeah,
terrible.
there's definitely some good ones out there, though. I know. I lived it.
I've definitely had some good helpers in my time, and still friends with them to this day. I had one helper. He was awesome, but we were delivering in his hometown, and he knew everybody and made it a point to talk to every. Like he would knock on doors just to wait for them to answer so we could say hi and shoot the shit. And I'm like, "Joe, we got to go, dude. You can't be talking to everybody. We got to keep moving." It was starting to get a little out of control. Like he was great worker, good kid, but he knew too many people. He was too popular, and everyone wanted to talk to him.
Oh, dude, to give a side note before we end this, I'll have to make sure to give him a heads up so he hears this. But my helper, the guy that I said was the 2-time state champion, he was still young. Like I said, he was like 20. I said 22. He wasn't old enough to buy beer yet. So he was like 20. Because I remember making that a point. His last year he helped me. So he started at 19. The next year he was 20. So he wasn't that long out of school. Dude, one day had a delivery to his high school, which the route I was running, I didn't normally have it, but that day I did. It wasn't like out of my way. It was right in the neighboring area. Dude, when I took him to that stop, it was just nothing, I was like, "Come on in with me, see it." I mean, it was like Elvis walked into the building, man. The faculty came out, the students out. I was like, "Shit, I should have left him in the truck, man. We're going to be here a while." Oh shit! Good times.
That's awesome.
Good times.
That's awesome. Well, let me ask you, Shaun, one last thing here. Do you, by any chance, have any questions for us?
Oh gosh, I thought about this, but I've listened to every single minute of every episode of your show, and I feel like I just know you guys so well. I don't know what I could ask. I'm a huge fan of what you do. I'm glad you guys started this. Keep it up. You guys are doing a great job. Like I heard somewhere that most podcasts fail like after, like before 10 episodes, they don't even make it to 10. And you guys are into the 70s now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's around there.
So keep it up.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing. Thanks for having me on here, and it was a good time.
Well, thank you for coming on, brother. We appreciate you as well.
And also we also see the shirt. Thank you.
Oh, hey, no, thank you. I got this. I got this shirt.
I know. I know.
I got this shirt because of the Wheel of Names.
Dude, that
No,
Wheel of Names. I
like-
fucking love that thing.
Well, I knew
That was
you. Guys,
that was you that
I-
messaged me about
yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And
Well,
you're
I
like,
knew you
yo,
were
my
probably
wife
like-
uses the Wheel
Oh
of Names
shit,
things.
that
and,
was.
and
Yeah,
he
I
was
remember
like, you
that
should use
now.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
well,
remember you telling me that it was that's
Yep.
nice.
I was
Well, I'm
like,
I
glad
had-
you
that's a good
introduced that
idea.
to Dave because I love that thing.
I had a feeling you were just like writing names down and cutting them and putting it
Oh,
in a
yeah.
hat or something, and then
Oh,
just
yeah.
pulling one out. And my wife uses Wheel of Names for her business all the time, and I had to reach out and give you an easier way. And then
Oh,
that was
it's
dude.
like
brilliant.
that's how I was rewarded
Epic.
by
That's how you were rewarded.
Epic.
You know?
Epic.
Fuck.
you used the
That's
Wheel
so
of Names,
awesome.
and I benefited from it. So very cool.
That's awesome.
So thank you. Thanks for the shirt.
man.
and Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
brother.
And guys, don't forget, continue being safe out there. All right. We're going to get through this holiday season every day, every stop, one stop at a time. So guys, be safe, continue delivering greatness. All right. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you, Shaun.
One more thing, Dave.
Yes.
I got a little word of wisdom too.
Go for it.
So through this peak, just I like to say, keep it between the ditches, have a safe peak. And if it starts to get to you, the volume and all that management, whatever it is, just say this: don't take it personal. Take it to the credit union. Thank
There
you, guys.
go. I like
That's
that.
right.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you, Shaun.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it. Just hang around here too, okay? Don't go anywhere.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.